everybody. So in social studies, we were asked to do a project about Seattle history. And so I decided to do the story of baseball in Seattle. That includes the Pilots and the Mariners. So I'm going to read to you my book about the Pilots, and that's basically a magazine. And I'll read it to all of you and tell you the history about baseball in Seattle. After the 1889 Seattle fire, Seattle was flat. And so everybody wanted to play baseball at first, but they couldn't of all the hills. So once the Seattle fire burnt down all the buildings, there was a clearing so they could play baseball. Seattleites have always wanted to play baseball. And in 1891, there was the first team in Seattle, the Giants, that played at Alki. In 1919, the Giants moved to Rainier Valley and started the PCL. That included teams from Vancouver, Tacoma, Portland, Olympia, and lots more from different destinations in the Pacific Northwest. So in 1919, they moved down to a stadium in Rainier Valley called Dugdale Park, named after the manager Daniel E. Dugdale. In 1932, the stadium burnt down, and they played at Civic Field and now Memorial Stadium down at the Seattle Center. In 1934, Daniel Dugdale died, so they went managerless until 1937 when our next baseball big cheese came, Emil Sick. Emil decided to start a baseball team because he had a friend in the brewery business in New York who owned a team. Emil was also known for being the CEO of Rainier Brewing Company. He decided to build a stadium called Sick Stadium. Here's my picture of Sick Stadium. And then here's a picture of Dugdale Park. In 1947, Emil changed the name to the Indians, and then later that year changed it to the Rainiers. They called it the Rainiers not because of Rainier Brewing, because of the beautiful Mount Rainier and the Cascade Mountain Range. In 1960, the Rainiers joined minor league baseball, and their team served the Boston Red Sox. Part 2, the Pilots, the Mariners, the Kingdom, and Safeco Field. In 1967, the American League decided, and the MLB did, in the 1969 season, they would have 4 expansion teams, 2 for the AL and 2 for the NL. In the American League would be the Kansas City Royals, and then they didn't know the second team. In the National League, it would be the Montreal Expos and the San Diego Padres. In 1968, they had a lottery for what team would get picked. Seattle won the lottery, so they got their team, the Seattle Pilots. They were also thinking about naming the Pilots the Green Sox, the Cascades, the Pacifics, and ironically the Mariners, and they called them the Pilots because they were jet aviations. The MLB voted to build a covered stadium for the Seattle, and it's supposed to open in 1971. But right now they would be playing in Sick Stadium until 1971. So they also built this one new spring training place in Tempe, Arizona. Now Tempe, Arizona spring training facility is where the Mariners and Padres have spring training. On the opening day of 1969, all the new expansion teams won their games. The Pilots played the LA Angels, and they both had the oddest uniform ever. The Pilots had wings on their hat, and then the Angels had a string around their hat that was supposed to look like a halo. At their first home game at Sick Stadium, the night before they installed the new scoreboard, and they were still installing seats, and until the third inning, they didn't let 3,000 fans in. In August 1969, the Pilots lost 22 of their 28 games. Also, there was only 677 and 944 people see the Pilots in the whole year. And then also there's a stadium that could fit 100,000, and in 6 games they could fit everybody that came to see the Pilots. In In 1967, the Milwaukee Braves moved down to Atlanta, and Milwaukee really wanted a new team. So in 1967, Milwaukee took the Pilots. In 1971, Seattle sued the American League and the MLB for $32 million because Milwaukee took their baseball team. And in 1977, Milwaukee got to keep their team, but the MLB decided to make two new teams in the American League, the Seattle Mariners and the Blue Jays. In 2000, they exploded the Dome Stadium that's known as the Kingdome. And now there's Safeco Field. Now there's baseball in Seattle, but that's the story of the Pilots. Here's some cards about the Pilots. Jim Gosper card and a Tommy Harper card from 1969. Here's my logo of the Pilots. Thanks for watching my video.